What's up guys, Bionic here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're talking about what's next in Raid. This video was just released on Raid's YouTube channel, but we have some exclusive information for you guys, which I quickly want to cover. But first, let's go over what they're presenting in here, highlight the few important things, and then we'll get around to those new champions. So let's get going. So the first thing to highlight is the third rotation of the Doom Tower, including two new bosses, which we do not know the skills yet, but we do have some indications as to what we're going to need to fight these bosses. We also see some different affinity of the previous bosses, including the Griffin being magic and the Scarab King being the spirit affinity. So Bommel here, the Dreadhorn, is one of the new bosses, and apparently what we get out of this guy is these little bombs that you cannot stop. You cannot kill them. They are going to blow up. They are saying, however, that the freeze debuff is going to be a way to counter them. All right, so do keep that in mind. Maybe our brand new ninja is going to be really effective for this. Perhaps this guy's immune to HP burns though. We're not exactly sure, but certainly it is going to be a new mechanic, and it is going to be really interesting to fight this champion. All right, so he looks absolutely amazing. I think they all do. They did a great job with this new champion, or boss model, I guess is what we should call this. And then for the second boss, which is some kind of a Fae, if I understand correctly, she looks absolutely amazing, but her mechanic is something like banishing your champions, and also if you have certain affinities against her, she can turn that to her advantage, or she's going to be buffed up depending on which affinities you bring to the table. Even though she is void, you might not want to walk in there with all magic champions or all spirit champions, as that might work against you. And I think she creates a copy of some of your champions when they get banished. So anyway, a little bit more information will come on this eventually in a dedicated video on Raid's YouTube channel regarding the two new bosses. Then, of course, there's the new gear that we'll be able to craft at the Forge from these new bosses, and both of them look really, really strong. For example, this guy will give us some extra defense and resistance gear, 10% extra defense, as you can see right down here, with the extra 40 resistance. And then this one right here is a better version of the Savage set. Basically, we're going to be getting 25% ignore of enemies defense and 10% crit rate, making this probably the best set to farm in the Doom Tower. So I can assume we're all going to be working on the new boss, right? We're all going to be farming that fate. Then of course we have the new champions, which I'll get around to giving you some information on in a second, including a new version of Kale. This is going to be, I guess, the buffed up version of this guy, much like the other starter champions. We've had other versions of this, and I think this guy is going to be a poison expert. And then we have some other ones, which again we'll quickly cover in a second, but first let's keep moving on to the other improvements. For example, the clan versus clan, there's now going to be some quests, basically some levels. There's going to be a currency, and there's going to be a shop. This is going to be very different from what we currently have, and from what they are explaining, you're basically going to get better benefits the higher clan level is, but also you're going to have to coordinate the clan missions with other players in your clan, because only one player will be able to undertake them. Let me take a second here to pause as well. We see some champion fragments in the clan shop. So the currency, there will be multiple ways to get this, but more importantly, there's going to be apparently some valuable champion fragments, perhaps for some of the previous fusions we've had. I really hope they do that, and I think this is going to be absolutely amazing. Great catch-up mechanic for players who were not able to get all the champions in there. And here's a quick overview of the missions themselves, and like I said, only one person will be able to grab this, so you will have to coordinate with your clan members. Finally, they talk about some quality of life improvements, mainly around the champions. For example, we're going to be getting an extra 100 slots to our champion collection. I don't think that's the vault, that's just our regular inventory of champions. Secondly, they talk about our inbox also getting an extra 100 slots, which is great if you want to hoard more gear in there, right? No, but absolutely, it is going to help. Then they also talk about changes coming to the duplicate champions. We all have a whole lot of them, and they are talking about a short-term and long-term solution. I have no clue what that really means, but hopefully it is going to allow us to power up some of our champions, or at least have a use for them, and I'm really eager to see how this is going to turn out. So they're basically saying we're still hammering out the details on how to properly do this. The final change is coming to the decrease crit damage debuff, which a handful of champions have in this game. Basically, instead of being a flat stat, so by reducing of 25%, it is going to reduce 25% of the stats. So like a 200% becomes 150% instead of 200% being 175%, making this effectively stronger. So a champion like Whirlim here might be a little bit more useful. All that said, let's go check the skills of the new champions. So one of the champions we'll be able to get from the Doom Tower is this epic right here from the Dark Elves faction. Epic attack magic type. Gwyneth is her name. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Here are her skills. Basically AoE A1, this attack will not trigger counter attacks. A2 attacks one enemy before attacking, has an 80% chance of placing 25% weaken debuff on the target for 2 turns. Heals his champion by 30% of the damage inflicted. Then heals all allies with any surplus heal. Okay. And then for the A3, transfers all debuffs from this champion to one target enemy, then attacks that enemy, ignores 10% of the defense for each debuff they are under. I mean, AoE A1 is always great, but I'm not overly impressed with her so far. The next champion is from the Shadowkin faction. This is an epic attack void champ named Taya. Here's a quick look at her skills. Attacks one enemy, 50% decrease accuracy debuff for 2 turns. Always useful for something, especially the Doom Tower. Then A2 triple hit. Each hit has a chance of placing a 5% poison debuff. You can probably book this to 100% chance. So this is great. Clan boss, Fire Knight. And then for the A3, attacks one enemy, 75% chance of instantly activating any poison debuffs and HP burn debuffs on the target. Also has a 75% chance of placing a heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So absolutely fantastic. A little bit like a ninja here, but because of the decreased accuracy and the heal reduction, it might be a little bit counterproductive for the clan boss. I'm still eager to take her for a spin. The third epic is the buffed up version of Kael. Apparently that's how you pronounce it. This guy, Dark Kael, is going to be available also in the Doom Tower. He's going to be an epic attack magic champion, such as all the other buffed up versions of the starter champions. So here's a quick overview of his skills. On the A1, attacks one enemy 3 times. Hello, Fire Knight clan boss. Each hit has a 25% chance to instantly activate 2 poison debuffs, or 1 poison debuff and 1 HP burn debuff. So again, with the instant activations of the HP burn and poison, absolutely fantastic. As for the A2, attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack. Each critical hit also has a 75% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Fantastic. And then for the A3, 75% chance of placing 5% debuffs and a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. And does it say on 1 target or multiple targets? I would assume this is maybe multiple. Is it 3 hits at random still, or is this like an AoE? 75% chance. It might be just a single target. Anyway, we're going to assume this is single target. I think this is great. So absolutely screaming clan boss. Like, yeah, for sure. This guy is going to be a beast. Hopefully he's the first one on the Doom Tower rotation and not the last one. I'm really eager to take this guy for a spin. A4, decrease the crit rate of enemies under 2 or more poison debuffs by 15%. If there are multiple champions, only 1 will activate. Then we have the new legendary champions, starting with Varl the Destroyer. This guy is going to be from the Orcs faction, legendary attack spirit type. Makes me think a little bit of a King Garog here, but here's the look at his skills. A1, heal this champion by 30% of the damage inflicted, single target. A2, AoE, 75% chance of 25% weaken for 2 turns. Also, decrease attack on the ones that got the weaken. Okay, and then for the A3, attacks one enemy, ignores 30% of the target's defense, decrease the target's max HP by 50% of the damage inflicted, places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn if this kills an enemy. And then for the A4, increase this champion's attack by 10% each time they use an active skill, up to 100% resets each round. So this guy will be able to power up even more. Again, makes me think of King Garog. The next legendary hero, Basatha, makes me think of a Vergumkar. Maybe it's his older brother or something, but this guy is from the Lizardman faction, legendary HP magic type. And here's the look at his skills. We have on the A1, death roll, attacks one enemy, 40% chance of placing decreased attack. That might be good for the clan boss. Strengthen and continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also place a shield buff for 2 turns equal to this champion's HP on allies under fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, or stun debuffs. Okay, so very conditional. Then for the A3, attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a stun. Probably can book this to 100% and also decreasing the turn meter by 30%. Excellent crowd control skill right there. And then for the A4, which is a passive, whenever an enemy is revived, 75% chance of placing a stun debuff on them for 1 turn. This effect cannot be resisted or blocked. Very interesting. So a counter to the revivers. Finally, the third legendary of the new Doom Tower champions is my favorite looking one. This is by far the coolest looking champ I've seen in a while. I absolutely love the way they did this. Really well done. So Vassal of the Seal is from the Demon Spawn faction, legendary HP Force type, and here's the look at his skills. Abyssal Seal attacks one enemy, places an HP burn debuff for 2 turns if they are under a true fear or a decreased attack. Okay, so conditional, but I believe he has some extra maybe crowd control in here. We'll see in a second. Yeah, right here, true fear. Also places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 10% of their max HP. So when we have a shield A1 champ, we know this can be good to solo the Scarab King. As for the A2, attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a true fear debuff and 50% decreased attack. This is great. And then for the A3, balance the HP of all allies. So much like Sanacia, I would assume, the HP levels of all allies will be brought to the level of the ally with the highest HP. After balancing, grants an extra turn. On top of that, absolutely amazing. So somewhat of a healer at the same time. And then for the passive, we have receives 20% less damage from champions from the Bannerlord, High Elf, and Sacred Order faction. Okay, so might be a good counter to that, and let's say Arena, perhaps, for example. And then for if there are 2 or more Demon Spawn champions on the team alongside this champion, increase the crit damage of all Demon Spawn champions on the team by 20%. Only works if he is alive. So certainly looks very interesting. I am eager to start trying to get these champions, but overall, guys, this is it. Okay, the quick overview of what is to come in Raid Shadow Legends. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later.